Hey guys, so we're going to be working on our secondary today, and well, you might notice that there's two secondaries here. This is a secondary that we had that tough time trying to get off the snowmobile, and this is one off of a parts snowmobile. And so I've been looking these over, and I think what we're going to end up doing is taking the movable pieces off of this secondary and switching them over here. Now the problem with this secondary is that we're missing these two bolts. And you'd normally think, well, let's just replace those bolts and then run it. But looking it over, I don't know if you can see, there's a bunch of rust in here on this stationary shaft. And this one's shaft is very, very clean. So having that rust on there is going to, make our bushings wear out faster. And between the two of them, this one has way better bushings in it. This one's had a lot more miles on it, you can tell, because the bushings are just worn. If you can take and look at it like that, and you can, I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but it wiggling like that isn't great. Also, on these cams, there's actually a little groove worn in there from those sliders here, sliding back and forth so many times. So I've got new cam sliders to put in, and we're going to make one good clutch out of these two, hopefully. So I guess let's get don't need that. Let's get started here and disassemble these clutches. Again, same thing with the primary clutches. You're going to want to be careful with these because they well, it's spring tension. It might shoot out at you. Okay. So another thing with these is I'm not exactly sure where it is. I think it's in this cap. There's supposed to be a little pin that goes up into a set of holes, and that determines your pre-tension on the spring. So I have to try and find where that is, because I've never actually taken one of these apart yet. Okay, so it is on this cam. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's those 4 holes that I was talking about. It says 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the normal setting for this would be in setting 2, but we found ours in setting 3, I think. Anyways, well, we're not using this cam, so we're going to take and set him to the side. And I don't think we're going to be using this spring either. We'll use this spring off this one. We just want basically the stationary shaft out of this one. So, I don't know what that shim was in there for. Oh. Hopefully, I think this should just, flop right apart like that. So now you have your movable face and your secondary, or stationary, your secondary. So I'll take and just set this over on the side with all his corresponding parts. That's kind of cool looking. And you can see how worn those sliders are, though. It's crazy. But we'll have to see how we can get these sliders out. I'm not sure. Just take up pliers and twist them out or what. But you can see how nice that bearing surface is. Okay, and then for number 2. I want to see something first here where that pin goes in. Okay, so this one, sorry if my head was in the way, but this one I can just barely make out that it is in the number 2 hole. And we'll have to watch and see if it rotates up, because I'm not sure if it just presses straight down or if we have to twist it in. But oh yeah, twisted quite a bit. Dang. Well, now I'll have to go look at the book and see how many twists that was, but I don't know. But you're learning with me. Not always the best thing, but... And there we go. So there's only one hole for it to go in down here, but you can see maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. So hole number 2 is where it goes. This is the one that came off that snowmobile. My guess is that this other clutch here came off of a 340 model, so it was tuned a little lighter. Or the springs just... No, the springs are the same. That's good. They're both blue. These are color coded just like the primaries and primary springs, but we'll use this one just to stick with it all. Okay, so this should lift off. This is the stationary we don't want. You can see that bolt is in here. And here's another weird thing I've noticed. You can see this one's kind of like an anodized gold color. That's from 1982. And this one's just like the plain galvanized color. This one is probably off like a 79 or 80 model, one of the earlier ones. I don't know. I've got 3 other 1982 models and they all have this gold, not plating, but anodized gold color. So it's just kind of interesting. I don't know if they made a lot of changes in 1982. Well, this is the one we want. So we're gonna have kind of a mishmash clutch here on it, I guess. I'll put him over. Well, we'll keep all these clutch parts separate. Okay, and then you can see this cam slider here. He's got a little bit of wear in there, but I mean, not too much, so it'll be okay. And with these cam sliders, or these cams, they make different degrees. So this one is standard is like a 38 degree, and then for high altitude ones they have a 44 degree, and a compound one which is actually 38, and then it like switches up to like 42 or something. I forget exactly, but for super high performance up in the mountains and stuff. But this is the one we want here. So I guess next we have to figure out exactly how to get these little sliders out. So I'll try and get 1 or 2 out, and then once I get it down I'll show you the 3rd one here. Okay, so that was super tough. Not really. You can see I already got 1 out here, and all that I did is it's sitting in there like that, and you can just see this little lip right here. I just take the punch and set it on there, and a few light taps, and she just came right out. So the next 2 here, try not to get my head in the way. And it makes it nice that these are plastic. They don't corrode in, they don't, you know, give you any of the grief that something steel would do, even aluminum. But it's crazy to just look at them, how much they're worn compared to what these new ones are. Like, just the difference. And this stationary is from the one that has a bunch of miles on it, but how much they wear over time like that. But all the force of that snowmobile engine, you know, it comes through here, and that's all riding on these. So the way these go in, you can see there's little indexed holes, and they should just fall right in. Be very careful not to chip these, or it is just a press fit, and once they seat fully, you're done. So you can see that one went down all the way. Now do the other two. And this is something real simple and cheap to do. I think a set of these is like $5. Maybe it's a little higher now because I bought these a long time ago, but for, you know, removing, what did I take off? 3 bolts on each. You can kind of hear the pitch change when you bottom out. There we go. Now this is our semi-rebuilt clutch. So we were using this movable face. So this is the one off of the 82, not the parts machine. I never actually saw the parts machine. It just came in a bundle of parts, but it came from the same guy that actually sold me that one. I only bought the snowmobile, and a kid up the road bought the rest of his parts, and I cut him a deal that I'd buy 1/3 of his parts. So, going together like this, and they should just slide right together. Perfect. Now looking at it like this, there's not too much wear. Well, hold on a sec now. Okay, so after further analysis, there was just too much play on the in between this bushing and the shaft on the other clutch. So we're going to stick with what this clutch was originally, and as you can see, I've already gone ahead and kind of polished up this shaft. It is looking a lot better than what it was. It cleaned up actually really nice. So I guess it's really not too big of an issue. And the other thing I did was I replaced these 2 bolts that were broken and missing and gone. And I also took and you saw me put these sliders in the other stationary face, but I took and pulled them out and put them back in this one, since this is the one we're going with. But I went ahead and ultrasonic cleaned these, so I got all of the gunk off of the hubs. They're pretty much as clean as they're going to get. So I don't know, it didn't really take a lot of this like corrosion off, but I'm not really worried about that. They're just cleaner than they were. But on these 82 plus clutches, something I noticed versus the other ones, there's a little arrow on this post here, and that corresponds with an arrow on your cam hub. And from what I believe in the manuals is that your secondary clutch, or it's supposed to line up like this, so the hole in this, or the spring hole in your stationary face should be like right over the top of that arrow there. So then what we're going to do is take and put our spring in hole number 2. So we're set there. That'll set our pre-tension. And we're going to take and insert it into this stationary hole. And now you can see kind of that this is offset. So this is the hub with the arrow, if you can see that. Or this is the post with the arrow, and our arrow is over here on the hub. So what we're going to have to do is rotate it down and get this post to line up with this hole, and that'll pre-tension our spring. So I've got my bolts ready here. Basically, there's not too much spring tension on it, but you are going to have to go quite a ways. and like I just lost it. So let's see, we want to go into this one. This is one that might help having it raised up here. So if you raise it up all the way, and then you can that will bring your movable face up, and you should have less spring tension on it. But we got to rotate this over here. Oh, almost had it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to support this. Let's see here. This might not be the best way to do it, but I have this pail that this clutch fits on. And now it's kind of up in my face, but let's see, we need to get the arrows back. So arrow here, this post over here. I know you can't probably hardly see it. That should be better. But those are our, let's see. So he should have to go right about there. Okay. And it was a lot easier once you, like I had it on a flat surface, so it was pushing the bottom shaft up, which meant I had to push the spring more. But there we go. And what's nice about these is that there's a recessed hole for these posts to go into, so it's not really bolt centric, it's centered on the holes in the hub. So you just kind of have to work it down. Okay, and there wasn't actually any torque spec for this, but we're just gonna tighten them down, you know, in a crisscross pattern so we're not pulling cockeyed or anything. And I'll finish torquing these down on the snowmobile when it's easier to hold, but next we'll be mounting it on the snowmobile, so we'll get to that next. Okay, so next thing to put it on the snowmobile, we have all of our shims that we took off of here. I'm just going to kind of clean these up a little bit. And what we're going to do is take some silver never sees and slobber up this shaft here. That's actually recommended by the John Deere manual, which is probably one of the reasons why we had such a tough time getting it off. But there's this special washer here first. That goes on with the lip facing out. And I've already gone ahead and I replaced this jack shaft bearing. I didn't show it on the video because it was pretty simple and kind of boring. But we're just cleaning up our shims here. Okay, and now for the fun part is the stuff that gets everywhere. Okay. And I want to make sure I get it right in that keyway too. So if it's going to stick anywhere, it's going to be in that keyway. And I will paint the inside of our clutch too. Just give it a good coat. I don't really think you can overdo this, but you know, it will get everywhere because that's what this shit does. And then we just kind of take and slip them on there. I did forget that we have to hold this clutch open. So let me just pop this open quick. I've got a patented socket in there to hold it open. And he should just slide right on. Okay. And it looks like we're gonna have to give it a love tap, but okay, that should be good enough. And our keyway is still lined up, so we're good to go. There we go. And I can actually see it coming through the backside, which is good. So we're just going to take and finish driving him on there until he hits the shims. Which, that looks like it's it. And I'll take and press that keyway the rest of the way in. And next would be to drop this spacer out. And there's support. I took it off with these 4 shims. They were on here for some reason. And I think you're supposed to shim it up so it's even right in here. But our space is actually, well, maybe it's 1 shim worth. But I think I have a, yeah. It's going to be a tougher time just keeping these shims in there. If anything, it's only 1. We'll go with 1 in there. But we're going to take and thread this into our jack shaft. And this is a hole, or this little tab here will line up with our keyway. And that'll keep our keyway from walking out. But just gotta get it in there. It's kind of a difficult thing because it's such a long bolt. There it is. Just to get it started. There we go. Well, there. And I'm going to rotate it a little. And oh no. So I might have gooped it up too much with that never cease because it kind of got in our bushing surface, which isn't terrible. You want them to be lubed up, but now it's going to collect clutch dust, which is not good. So I'm just going to take and wipe that off as best that I can. So that's kind of disappointing, but we won't do it next time. The next thing I'm going to do is torque this bolt down to 20 foot-pounds. That's only a 5/16 bolt, so it's going to be a 1/2 inch. I guess the easiest way for that is to just hold the brakes, and that'll hold your clutch steady, and then torque it down. And then I'm also going to go ahead and go with these 3 too. I'll also go to 20 foot-pounds since they're about the same. Well, they're the same size bolt. But other than that, that's pretty much it.